there's two different things you're dealing with when you talk about globalism. And, you always have the contrast of the two things. And one of them is that the idealized vision that the globalists themselves have of what it is. And so, if you talk to someone who supports the EU or supports the UN or supports any transnational body, they think that they are on the right side of history and they think they're doing the good thing. And the idealized image they're given is that, modern communications, modern trade, modern policy, and the problems that the modern world faces are all dealt with better on a transnational level than on a national level. And they're told that, if we're going to deal with climate change, if we're going to deal with poverty around the globe, if we're going to generally improve people's lives everywhere, we have to have transnational bodies and we have to have transnational solutions. If we want to stop nations fighting each other, we have to have a body like the UN that goes in and says, this is the international rule of law. These are the values by which you'll abide, and every nation is subject to them. And that's all stuff that developed after World War II, and and had the kind of moral backing of the fight against Nazism, for example, and then the kind of Cold War and the fight against communism. This idea that we have this set of shared values that transnational bodies are going to be the custodians of, and they're better custodians of it than national governments are, because you can't trust national governments. They might throw up a Hitler, they might throw up a Stalin. It's much better if these things are ordered on a transnational level. And even kind of simple minor things like aviation rules or like shipping rules, you need a global system for that. And there's some element of truth in that, and most ordinary people wouldn't object to there being international aviation guidelines, for example. There's a pragmatic basis to some of it, but the idea that all of that is needed, and it's needed more than national governments, is the root of globalism. And it soon becomes a means for the most corrupt and the most malign to ignore what their actual populations want. So, if you want to be very, very corrupt in the US or the UK or Australia, you want to take power away from your own people, especially the power to stop you doing what you want to do. And one route of doing that is to invest the power in a transnational body. So you take the power away from your own populace, you make sure it can never be voted against again in an election by transferring that power to a transnational body like the UN or like the World Health Organization, and then you have your career as a politician in your own home nation, but you're not really serving the interests of your home nation at all. And what we've seen come out of the changes that have happened since Trump was elected is it's exposing this vast international network, because it's not just the Democrats in the US. Their British equivalents are doing the same. Their Australian and Canadian equivalents do the same. Globalists everywhere take power away from the people, take power away from their own nation state, and invest it elsewhere. And they're stealing money as they do this as well. They're diverting the funding of the nation state, and they're saying, well, actually, I believe it should go to this project in Africa, or I believe it should go to, and I don't really want, I believe passionately in lesbian daycare centres in Somalia, and that's where the money's going. Whether or not, some US voter in Michigan or somewhere else or Nebraska wants that, we're going to do it anyway. We're going to appropriate the funds. We're going to build up the debt. We're going to kick back some of it to ourselves, because that's what always happens as well. And we're going to do all this without you having much of a say or knowledge over it. And that's what globalism is really, because in my book I talk about at the end I have an appendix where I list globalist institutions, things like the Atlantic Council, or things like the World Economic Forum. All of these things were put in place with supposedly noble intentions of fostering good relations between different nations, and of encouraging peace, encouraging security, and encouraging prosperity. Um, but all of them become a huge racket for the most corrupt people within a nation state, because they can say we're funding all these wonderful good things. Don't look at where the money goes. Oh, some of it's going to us.
Yeah.
And that's where all of these NGOs come from, and I list a large number of them in my book, F the Planet, and they're in there, and all of those will be the kind of organisations that were receiving money from USAID, and the kind of billions and billions of dollars of US debt and waste that's been exposed now. But this is happening in every Western nation. This is what globalist governance does. It's partly a massive financial corruption scheme, and
Yes.
it's partly a kind of ideological drive towards a single world government that's, of course, enacting globalist ideas and globalist theories.
If you liked this video, check out the full interview. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you get notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thanks for watching.